Maritime Made on Eastlink is presented by Nova Scotia Business Inc., working with companies across Nova Scotia to be more successful exporters every step of the way.
After venturing into beekeeping, Cory Cauvier became familiar with the challenges beekeepers face. Together with his partners, they formed an innovative company called Hivetronics. One of the challenges for beekeepers is to measure true weight of their hives. This is very important information in the beekeeping world. A beekeeper needs to know the weight of a hive to be sure the bees have proper food stores. Or, when they're combining hives, they need to know weights to accurately combine the right amounts of bees and food. The portable hive scale weighs less than 5 kilograms. It accurately measures the weight of each hive and can easily be moved around the apiary to weigh hives of different designs and sizes. The scale works in combination with the Hivetronics app. When the hive is weighed, that information is sent via Bluetooth to the beekeeper's smartphone. The construction of the scales and the development of the app are all done locally in Nova Scotia.
Right now, the industry has developed stationary hives where you buy one stand, one scale, it's for one hive, and it kind of monitors kind of the apiary based on one hive. I did a lot of research and found that the industry needed a scale that was portable and affordable, and it could do all their hives, and so that's what we went out to do.
The metal parts of the scale are built and powder-coated by outside local companies. At Hivetronics, they're inspected and ready for the build. An anti-static bracelet is worn for working safely on the circuit control board. The board is wiped with cleaner. A protective diode is soldered into place to prevent reverse current flow. Then, ends of the diode are clipped. Various components are soldered onto the board, including a resistor, which limits the current to the LED indicator. Next, a load cell connector is installed. This measures changes in electrical currents when weight is applied. It then displays that weight digitally. Eventually, 4 load cells are connected to the unit. Next, the switch connector is installed. Then, the battery connector. A voltage regulator is installed next. Then comes the load cell amplifier. Then a Bluetooth microcontroller is soldered onto the board. The completed board is cleaned and inspected. The brain circuit board is plugged in for a burn test. The board runs for 24 hours to ensure all parts are working properly.
There's all the science that's out there that's proven that with selective breeding, you can make a queen that can produce more honey. And where the scale comes into play is if you're going out there and weighing all these hives and you're selecting the eggs that are coming from these hives that are producing the most honey, your queens will then produce workers that will produce more honey.
Using a drill, load cell leads are twisted together to reduce electrical noise. The combinator board collects and combines the information from the load cells and sends it on through an amplifier to the communicator. The communicators then relate the weigh information to the app on the beekeeper's smartphone. Once the load cells are connected to the combinator, connections are checked and cleaned. Each load cell is tested to ensure they're communicating to the phone app. The unit is then sent on for mechanical assembly. At this stage, the combinator board is inserted into a mold where an epoxy resin is applied. The resin protects from any moisture and helps it form correctly. The epoxy is then left overnight in the mold for curing. After 24 hours, the mold is loosened and the encapsulated load cell is removed. Now fully protected, the combinator board is zip-tied and glued to the plate. Each of the load cells are attached and secured to the load cell plate in a similar way. All wiring is meticulously secured to the plate, so there are no loose wires or ends to be found.
With hobby beekeepers, they really get attached to their hives, so they don't want to lose hives. And what can happen is a hive maybe isn't as strong as the other hives, but they'll that emotion, it's like a pet. That emotion of trying to make that call to combine that hive with other ones, because that's a process that happens if a hive becomes weak. But what we found when we gave the scale and we got feedback from our customers is they were combining hives quicker because they could see that data that that hive is actually quite weak. But kind of allowed a beekeeper to have definitive numbers. They could go into winter with comfort.
After the glue has hardened, the next step is the mechanical assembly of the scale itself. The first step is attaching the base plate to the pivot using pins and washers. The load cell plate is then attached to the base plate and hinged with a pin. A circlip holds the pin in place. Next, a cover plate is put in place. The handle is tested on the unit. With the unit assembled, a mock-up of a beehive with a typical weight is used to calibrate the accuracy of the unit. Using a laptop in association with the phone, the calibration is adjusted. The scale is powered by 6 AA batteries. The main power switch leads are soldered in place. Heat shrink is applied to avoid any shorting of current. The switch wires are then connected to the main microprocessing board. The battery holder and battery pack plain board are installed. Loctite is applied to the mounting screws for extra hold. With the batteries in place, the cover is secured. A verification is done one last time to ensure the calibration is accurate. With labels and logos, the unit is now customer ready.
We've had great feedback from beekeepers. They've really been supportive. We're out there listening to all the beekeepers, getting the feedback, and we're really continuously improving the product. Right now, with regards to sales, we'd like to start exporting more past Quebec. So we had some sales in Ontario. We've had some sales in Quebec, New Brunswick, here in Nova Scotia. We are getting into talks now with beekeepers in Alberta and British Columbia. So that's our immediate goal right now, but we also want to get into the United States. Lots of beekeepers there that need our technology, and we want to grow in a sustainable way, so we want to make sure that our product is meeting their needs and all that. So we've kept local within the close provinces, so we could get that feedback and make sure that our product is meeting their needs, and if we had to adopt and change anything. But now we're ready to go outside of our immediate provinces and then into the States in 2022, and then after that the world's our oyster.